Who is Final Fantasy IV is a type of question that people ask once in a while when it comes to the game. There are many reasons why people will ask this question: to get people to play the game or to justify why they play the game themselves. And every answer is usually different and vary from people to people. But before I go any further, I do want to say please subscribe to the channel, it does help me out. And if you're not going to do it for me, like always, do it for the red panda. For example, some people will say this game is made for people who really love story-driven game that has a bunch of lore and a very fine, concrete story, which I 100% agree with. I personally believe this story is goddamn amazing and fantastic. Take it from someone that personally cried around 30, actually that's too little, 40, no, still too little, 100 times during the whole goddamn course of different type of stories in Final Fantasy XIV, not only from the MSQ, but also some raid stories and alliance raid. And moving on, there's some people that will say it's probably the high-end content for Final Fantasy XIV, which there's a good bunch of them. And this is also kind of subjective because some people have different ideas of what is considered high-end content, but I will go and do the general viewpoint of it. And those include Extreme, Savage, Ultimate, Criterion Dungeon, and Solo Deep Dungeons. And again, those vary in different type of difficulty. And also people personally believe that's what Final Fantasy XIV is, trying to do the hardest content in the game. And then there are some people that will say the glam is what Final Fantasy XIV is, trying to make your character look good as much as possible. And everyone knows that is ideally true. You want to look good. That's the true end game of the game, Final Fantasy XIV, aka how good do I look in this? And the thing is, all those people are correct. This game is meant for story people. This game is also meant for people that want to do raiding, same as people who like the style of Final Fantasy and try to look good. They're all correct. And the very simple reason for that is because this game is meant for everyone. And if that wasn't the case, the game wouldn't cater that at all with the content they are providing. Raiding has usually excellent story that's attached to it that's meant to world build the MSQ. The MSQ trials won't have a stream version of them, and all of these content wouldn't have some type of fashion, glam, mount, or anything to basically brag or try to look good in the game. There's still many more examples. I haven't mentioned crafting, how that's connected to everything. I haven't mentioned things like Ultimate and how that could connect, giving it a different viewpoint of a story like DSR with Heaven Ward. And I think it's a very unique thing that Final Fantasy XIV has. I think personally this is how MMOs should be handled, try to cater as much people as possible. But there are some cases where some people will argue that catering to everyone is a negative, which is not completely wrong. And that is going to be like when a theme that is going to be changed in Final Fantasy XIV or taken out, that's going to come in a perspective of trying how is this going to benefit everyone in the video game. That's not the bad part, because there's things that have been taken out from Final Fantasy XIV or things that have been added to Final Fantasy XIV that been a positive to the whole game and the community. One is taking out, like losing a choice and something that's not going to really benefit a player at all, or changing the mechanic of a game that wasn't there before but now is. I think an example of that will be like party buff timers. There's many more examples I think you could probably come up that been added to the game or things that have been taken out, and it made it feel a lot more better. The negative come in is one that is taken to the extreme. We got a hint of that in Shadowbringers, but I think it's now more prevalent in Endwalker. It's everyone's favorite word from Endwalker, Shadowbringers, or even Stormblood: homogenization on jobs. It started with tanks and then healers, and as a recent of Endwalker, it been happening with DPSs. And this is something the community had been very vocal on with like job fantasy and how jobs feel and flow. And one more thing is going to be like overall gameplay flow. As a recent in Endwalker, that will be the 2-minute buff window, and also making boss a lot more targetable during the whole fight. And what I mean by that is having big giant hitboxes. Those are just a few examples of the negative that it could cause. But do I personally believe that it should be enough to stray away trying to cater for everyone? Ideally, not really. And the reason why I say that is because earlier I said that it's honestly really good that Final Fantasy XIV does that, and it's great for a MMO to do that. And I think that if they stray away from that and try to cater to something else in FF14, say for example hardcore players only they try to cater to, it's not going to go well at all. What about if they go to casual and they try to cater? I mean, you're leaving out other demographics too. So I think that trying to cater to everyone is ideally a lot more better than trying to cater to one individual group. There is time where certain groups do get shafted in FF14, and I feel like that few times still doesn't warrant at all to really shift the mindset of the dev team, because like the dev team do actually listen to implementing new things to the game. It just takes a very long time for them to do it because of how they handle the patch cycles in this game, or until someone get banned and then they implement that thing. Just that the formula have been working for many years, and if it wasn't, they would have probably have it change it as of now. And if you cannot accept the formula that they're going for at all, that they're trying to cater to as many people as possible, there's a very high likely that you're not going to enjoy the game at all, because you're probably going to complain about everything. You're going to have a bad experience because of it. The things that you want to be added, you're not going to think about how it's going to be really healthy for the game, or if it's going to be healthy for the game at all, which will lead to a very biased point of view of the game. And that's the reality, and it sucks too, because there's even things that I wanted to be added to Final Fantasy XIV, but I really don't know if it's going to be benefit for everyone in the video game. Like one example is I want to see more combination buttons, like a 1 2 3 for certain jobs, or 1 2, because I feel like it will bring up a lot more flow. It would take out button bloats, and it also make it where we could have more GCDs. But I know that's a very unpopular opinion and not one that people want to express as much. And I have around like 10 more things too that I personally believe that should be changed in Final Fantasy XIV. Also, I think around like 7 those will benefit. Okay, I'm lying, it's actually around like 3 will benefit Final Fantasy XIV. The other 7 is just random things that I think will be cool to see in the game. What I'm trying to say is that no matter what your opinion about Final Fantasy XIV, or the things that you want to be added in Final Fantasy XIV, or how many people are in this game, it's ideally meant for everyone. If you're a casual, mid-core, or a hardcore player, the game is meant to cater you in some fashion. But sometimes that will be frustrating because you're going to be time when that's not the case. You feel like you're being shafted and a lot of things are missing out of the game. And the best thing you could do is give feedback to the devs, and hopefully there's like-minded people like you to have enough reach and a voice for it. And if it's something like a change to the gameplay mechanic and it hasn't been changed at all, that potentially mean that it's not meant to be in Final Fantasy XIV anymore, or at all. But that's pretty much all I want to say in this whole video, that this game is meant for everyone. So hope all you have a wonderful day, and see ya.